Hello everyone, this is a recording of Unit 4, Lesson B, pages 76 and 77. Now this lesson focuses on understanding visuals, suffixes and syllable stress, listening for main ideas and details, and giving reasons, causes, and effects. So without further ado, let us start our lesson for today. Let me just share the screen. Give me 1 second so I can view the presentation. Okay, give me 1 second so I can view the All right, so let's start. Now for the first activity, I'm going to show you some photos and then you are required to write down the words which come to your mind when you see the photos. So we will start with picture A. Now when you click on the link, it will open up the presentation to menti.com. Now let's open this and see what we've got. Okay, so you can see there a photo, and then there is the, excuse me, there is the instruction to type up the words that come to your mind when you see the photo. Okay, now you type up the word in the box and then click submit. Now you can type up as many words as you want. Okay, now I'm going to show you the teacher's view because here what I have is the student's view. When they click on the link, then this is what they see. Okay, now let's show the teacher's view. So this is the teacher's view. I'm here in the mentimeter.com. So this is the presentation for Unit 4, this Lesson B, page 76 and 77. Okay, so there, got the photo and then the instruction. What words come to your mind when you see this photo? So you can type up the words that come to your mind. What do you feel when you see this photo, or what do you think of this photo? Next photo, this is picture B. Okay, what words come to your mind when you see this photo, or what do you think of this photo? You can type up as many words as you want. Okay? All right. So there are many words that you can associate with these two photos, right? Okay. And they also evoke different feelings within us, all right? Okay, now let's proceed to the next presentation. Okay, now here in the next slide, you are required to choose which picture between A and B do you like. So click the photo which you like. Is it picture A or is it picture B? Okay, and we will see how many students like picture A and how many students like picture B. Okay, now here you are required to compare and contrast picture A and picture B. And there are 3 questions to be answered here, right? So which picture do you like? Is it A or is it B? Why? You are required to write down short answers to these questions. Which place in the pictures do you think receives more rain? Is it A or is it B? Look at picture A and look at picture B. Which picture or which place do you think receives more rain? Why? And then the last question, do you think rain is important? Why or why not? You can type up short answer to these questions. Now, if I ask you, is water important? Is rain important? What do you think would happen if there was no rain? Or what do you think would happen if there was not enough water in the world? Will that be a problem? Yes or no? Okay, so you've got different opinions, right? Now in this lesson, we are going to listen to a conversation among students about some problems in a place wherein there was not enough water. What are the effects of this problem? And how can we help solve this problem? All right? Okay, I'd like you to look at this photo. Okay, so here you will see a map of Murray-Darling Basin, which is an important agricultural region in Australia. Now look at the map and answer the questions. Okay, you can see here the map of the region, and you can see that there are different colors here, right? Now, what do the colors represent in the chart, right? So here, there are 3 questions, okay? And then you've got to answer all these questions by looking at the chart. Oh, this is understanding infographics, all right? So if you see color blue, it means that the rain is above average. But if you see the light brown, like here, it's average. And the darker brown is below average. And once the color becomes darker, then it becomes lowest rain or lowest amount of rain which the region receives. All right. Now, what was the rainfall pattern in 2001 to 2008? And then question 2, what does the chart tell you about the rain in that area? Okay, now we're going to answer these 2 questions using the Mentimeter. So let's go back to the Menti presentation. So here, this is the rainfall chart. The question, how much rain does the place receive? Is it much rain? Is it less rain? Or is it heavy rain? Now choose the correct answer. You can just tick the correct answer. All right. How much rain does the place receive? Is it much? Is it less? Or is it heavy rain? Okay. Then the next question. What problems do you think farmers have in that place? If there was not much rain, then what problems do you think the people face in that area, especially the farmers? Okay. Now we're going to listen to the conversation among the students. And then while you are listening, you've got to take down notes so that you would be able to answer the questions after the listening text. All right. Now the first activity here is to number the photos in correct order as you hear them in the listening text. All right. So here, this activity would be answered via whiteboard app. So I'm going to open the whiteboard app. So here, I'm showing the 4 photos. Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger. Oh, that's the biggest that it could be. Couldn't make it bigger anymore. All right. So here we've got the 4 photos. Then while listening to the audio recording, you need to number the photos in the order that you hear them. Okay. Now you can either use a digital pen to write or to doodle on this whiteboard app, or you can type up your answer. Okay. So if your answer for the first photo is, if you think that the first photo is this, number 1, then you can just write down 1 on the side, okay? And if you think that the third photo is the second one in order that you hear them, then you've got to write number 2 on the side, all right? Or you can type up your answer, okay? So type up 1 and then drag and drop. Drag and drop, place it on the circle, which you think it should belong, all right? So if you think this photo is the first, then type up number 1 there and drag and drop, okay? So that's what you're going to do. And then if your answer is wrong, then just undo, 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 okay? All right, so now I'm going to play the recording. Listen very carefully and number the photos in the order that you hear them.
about drought in a region called... For our presentation on how people are affected by drought, here's some information about drought in a region called the Murray-Darling Basin. That's the biggest agricultural area in Australia. The city of Adelaide is there. In some places in the region, it hasn't rained once in 7 years. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's unbelievable.
I know. The article has some really good photos. Maybe we can show them to the class. Look, here's one of a farm family. Their name is Adlington. They sure don't look happy. What does their farm produce? Milk. They used to have 500 cattle and now they only have 70 because grass is so scarce.
Really? Wait a minute. In class, Professor Larson said that river is used for irrigation in Australia. What's it called? The Murray River?
Yeah, that's right. But the normal water level of the river is now extremely low. The government allocated most of the water to the city of Adelaide for domestic use and to big industrial farms. The law says that some water has to stay in the river for the fish and animals, so there's not much left for agriculture. Well, in my opinion, water is the most important resource the place has, and cities are the top priority. I mean, that's where most people live. And here's a picture of a lake in another part of Australia that's almost disappeared, called Lake Boga. Look at this. Now all the water in Lake Boga is used by farmers. That's unbelievable. It's totally gone. The article said Lake Boga used to be a vacation place. Now it's in crisis. No one stays in the hotels, and the whole town smells like dead fish.
Ugh, that's really sad. But I think growing food is the most important consideration.
Look, this photo shows an urgent meeting for rice farmers, talking about how the government reduced their water allocation. The guy in the middle, Frank Whalen, started one of the first rice farms in Australia in 1962. The article says Australia used to grow 1 million tons of rice a year, but now they only grow 21,000 tons.
You're kidding. And the world needs a lot more food.
But doesn't rice need a lot of water to grow? Maybe Australia isn't the best place for rice farms.
That just doesn't sound fair. It seems like the farmers have to give their water to industry and everyone else.
Not exactly. There are a lot of water rules and restrictions in Australian cities too. For example, the article says that water is collected in showers and used to water gardens. Seriously? Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let us check your answers. Which one is the first photo that you had? All right. And which one is the second, the third, and the fourth? Where is the Lake Boga? And which photo shows a meeting of farmers? Right? Okay, it's very easy, right? All right, now let's move on to the next activity. So here, you are going to listen to details and you are going to answer specific information from the conversation or from the talk among the students. So you've got to pay very close attention so that you'd be able to get the correct answers. Now, these listening tests will be answered in your Moodle. Okay, the listening questions are in the Moodle. You've got to answer them correctly. Now, while you are listening, you can take down notes. Okay, take down notes so that you would get the correct answers. Okay, listen and write down the correct answers.
For our presentation on how people are affected by drought, here's some information about drought in a region called the Murray-Darling Basin. That's the biggest agricultural area in Australia. The city of Adelaide is there. In some places in the region, it hasn't rained once in 7 years. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's unbelievable.
I know. The article has some really good photos. Maybe we can show them to the class. Look, here's one of a farm family. Their name is Adlington. They sure don't look happy. What does their farm produce? Milk. They used to have 500 cattle and now they only have 70 because grass is so scarce.
Really? Wait a minute. In class, Professor Larson said that river is used for irrigation in Australia. What's it called? The Murray River?
Yeah, that's right. But the normal water level of the river is now extremely low. The government allocated most of the water to the city of Adelaide for domestic use and to big industrial farms. The law says that some water has to stay in the river for the fish and animals, so there's not much left for agriculture. Well, in my opinion, water is the most important resource a place has, and cities are the top priority. I mean, that's where most people live. And here's a picture of a lake in another part of Australia that's almost disappeared, called Lake Boga. Look at this. Now all the water in Lake Boga is used by farmers. That's unbelievable. It's totally gone. The article said Lake Boga used to be a vacation place. Now it's in crisis. No one stays in the hotels, and the whole town smells like dead fish.
Ugh, that's really sad. But I think growing food is the most important consideration.
Look, this photo shows an urgent meeting for rice farmers, talking about how the government reduced their water allocation. The guy in the middle, Frank Whalen, started one of the first rice farms in Australia in 1962. The article says Australia used to grow 1 million tons of rice a year, but now they only grow 21,000 tons.
You're kidding. And the world needs a lot more food.
But doesn't rice need a lot of water to grow? Maybe Australia isn't the best place for rice farms.
That just doesn't sound fair. It seems like the farmers have to give their water to industry and everyone else.
Not exactly. There are a lot of water rules and restrictions in Australian cities too. For example, the article says that water is collected in showers and used to water gardens. Seriously? Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to answer the listening test in Moodle by choosing the correct answers. That's easy because when you listen to specific information, then you're just choosing the correct answer, right? So it's easy enough for you all, right? Okay. Now, going back to the listening text, what was the biggest problem of the people in that area? Why are they experiencing this problem? What happened? Now, what do you think would you do if you experience the same problem? Okay? Now, it's a very big problem if there was no water or if there was not enough water in the place, right? It is a really big problem. Okay. Now, I'd like you to listen to the conversation again and then write down the 3 most important facts that the students or that some students can use for the presentation on how people are affected by drought. Or take down notes about the most important effects of drought. Okay? What are the most important effects of drought? Take down notes because you are going to use this information when you start the speaking activity for today. Okay? So I'd like you to listen to the listening recording again.
For our presentation on how people are affected by drought, here's some information about drought in a region called the Murray-Darling Basin. That's the biggest agricultural area in Australia. The city of Adelaide is there. In some places in the region, it hasn't rained once in 7 years. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's unbelievable.
I know. The article has some really good photos. Maybe we can show them to the class. Look, here's one of a farm family. Their name is Adlington. They sure don't look happy. What does their farm produce? Milk. They used to have 500 cattle and now they only have 70 because grass is so scarce.
Really? Wait a minute. In class, Professor Larson said that river is used for irrigation in Australia. What's it called? The Murray River?
Yeah, that's right. But the normal water level of the river is now extremely low. The government allocated most of the water to the city of Adelaide for domestic use and to big industrial farms. The law says that some water has to stay in the river for the fish and animals, so there's not much left for agriculture. Well, in my opinion, water is the most important resource the place has, and cities are the top priority. I mean, that's where most people live. And here's a picture of a lake in another part of Australia that's almost disappeared, called Lake Boga. Look at this. Now all the water in Lake Boga is used by farmers. That's unbelievable. It's totally gone. The article said Lake Boga used to be a vacation place. Now it's in crisis. No one stays in the hotels, and the whole town smells like dead fish.
Ugh, that's really sad. But I think growing food is the most important consideration.
Look, this photo shows an urgent meeting for rice farmers, talking about how the government reduced their water allocation. The guy in the middle, Frank Whalen, started one of the first rice farms in Australia in 1962. The article says Australia used to grow 1 million tons of rice a year, but now they only grow 21,000 tons.
You're kidding. And the world needs a lot more food.
But doesn't rice need a lot of water to grow? Maybe Australia isn't the best place for rice farms.
That just doesn't sound fair. It seems like the farmers have to give their water to industry and everyone else.
Not exactly. There are a lot of water rules and restrictions in Australian cities too. For example, the article says that water is collected in showers and used to water gardens. Seriously? Yeah.
Okay, so what are the 3 most important effects of drought? You can type up your answers in the chat box. All right? Now here is the next activity using whiteboard. Okay. Now in the listening text, the students also talked about the important uses of water. Okay. Now you can type up as many ideas that you remember in the bubbles. So again, here you can doodle, either using your digital pen or using your hand. And you can also type up, okay, and then drag and drop, okay? Type up as many ideas that you remember. What are the important uses of water? Now you're going to use these ideas for your speaking task. Okay? All right, I'm giving you 3 minutes to do this. Okay. So while you are typing up your ideas, I can see them here because this is a collaborative presentation. So I can see you as you typed up your answers, all right? Okay. So let us proceed to the next activity. So there are many ways how we use water, right? And if there is a water shortage or if there is a water problem in our area, then it is really a big problem for all of us, right? Okay. But we also talk about the ways on how we can save up water, right? There are several ways on how we can save up water. So, in the article that we listened to, it is a must for all of us to conserve water, right? And there are ways of water conservation which were mentioned in the article, right? Or in the listening text. Okay, now pay close attention to the words conserve and conservation, all right? What parts of a speech is conserve? Conserve, is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Is it a verb or is it an adverb? When I say conserve, we should conserve water. Does it tell you what to do? What to do with water? We should conserve water. Yes, it tells you what to do. Therefore, it is a verb, right? What about conservation? When we say water conservation is a good thing because it helps us to avoid water problems. So what part of a speech is conservation? Does it tell you what to do? Or is it a thing? Is it something that you do? Yes, it is something that you do. So therefore, it is a noun. Okay. Now, what syllable is added to the word conserve to make it conservation? Right? Because here we see conserve was formed into conservation. What syllable is added? So if you look at conserve, here it becomes conservation. So here, what syllable is added to the word conservation? All right, so it is a shun or shun, right? It is added. Now, where do we add it? Is it at the beginning or is it at the end? Yes, it is at the end. Therefore, it's called a suffix. Now, class, in English, when we form words, we can add letters or we can add syllables to some words in order to form another word. And when we add syllables or letters, then the meaning of the words change, right? Okay. Now also, when we pronounce the words differently or when we give stress to the different syllable in the words, then the meaning also changes. Okay, so again, look at the words conserve and conservation. Where is the stress in conserve? If I say conserve, conserve, is it in the first syllable or is it in the second syllable? Conserve. It is in the second syllable because conserve is a verb. The stress is in the second syllable, conserve. We don't say conserve. No, we say conserve. Okay, and when we say stress, we give more emphasis to certain syllable in the words, or we pronounce it louder, or we give it a higher pitch than the other syllables in the words. Okay, now what about in conservation? Where is the stress? Conservation. 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 Okay, it is in the third syllable. It is in the third syllable. Sorry, I preempted it. Okay, so it is in the third syllable. So we say conservation. The stress is on the third syllable. Okay, now let us listen to exercise A on page 77 for syllable stress. Now, we're going to listen and then pronounce the words. We're going to listen and pronounce the words, all right? This is on page 77. Okay, so we have here.
Education. Educate. Education. Educate. Education. Present. Presentation. Present. Presentation. Present. Presentation. Allocate. Allocation. Allocate. Allocation. Allocate. Allocation. Conserve. Conservation. Conserve. Conservation. Conserve. Conservation.
Okay, so where is the stress in the word educate? You say educate, education, present, presentation, allocate, allocation, conserve, conservation. So if you look at the first row or the first column of the words, then you have here, you can see that two syllable words are stressed on the second syllable. We say present, conserve. These are two syllable verbs. They are stressed on the second syllable. And then the three syllable verbs are stressed on the first syllable, like educate, allocate, all right? And the four syllable words are stressed on the third syllable. And these are all nouns, right? So we say education, presentation, allocation, conservation, all right? So the nouns, the three syllable nouns are stressed on the third syllable. Okay, let's give more examples. So we say present, presentation, present, presentation. Say we say export, exportation, export, exportation, import, importation, importation, deport, deportation, deport, deportation. Okay, so you can see that the two syllable words here are stressed on the second syllable, right? And the four syllable words are stressed on the third syllable. Now, what part of the speech are on the first column? Present, export, import, deport. Do these words tell you what to do? All right, so these are verbs, right? And what about the second column? They all end in "tion." Presentation, exportation, importation, deportation. These are all nouns. Words ending in ion, "tion," tion, Asian, those are nouns. Okay, and they are stressed on the third syllable. Okay. All right, now this is on page 77 of your book. Listen to the words and sentences and then circle the stressed syllable. Now this will be done on the whiteboard app. Okay, I'm going to open this on whiteboard app, and then you're going to listen, and then circle. While you listen, you circle the stressed syllable. There are words here which are highlighted or in bold, okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? Now you're going to circle the stressed syllables, okay? Wherever the stress is, then you've got to circle. Okay, listen.
It's a big industrial city. Industry. It's a big industrial city. Industry. It's a big industrial city.
Agriculture. He studied at an agricultural college. Agriculture. He studied at an agricultural college. Agriculture. He studied at an agricultural college.
Government. She works for a governmental agency. Government. She works for a governmental agency. Government. She works for a governmental agency.
Describe. The description of Lake Boga was very interesting. Describe. The description of Lake Boga was very interesting. Describe. The description of Lake Boga was very interesting.
Okay, so where is the stress in the first word? What about on the third? On the second, I mean. The third and the fourth. Now you've got to pronounce the words also, all right? So, listen and repeat. Industrial, agricultural, governmental, description. Okay? So, that is our lesson on word stress, syllable stress. Okay. When we change the stress on the syllable, then the meaning also changes. For example, there are words with the same spelling, but the meanings are different depending on the syllable stress. Example, if you've got noun and verb, like for example, if you have record as a noun versus record as a verb. So when you change the syllable stress, then the meaning also changes. All right? Okay. So at this time, we are now ready for our speaking practice, right? Okay, so today we talked about the causes of water problems and then the effects of drought, right? The effects of drought and the ways how to conserve water, right? Okay. So for today's speaking activity, you're going to talk about water and its importance, and then the causes of water problems and the effects of water problems. Okay. Now we're gonna do this via StreamYard. Okay, that's why we're doing the live streaming. And I'm going to call you by partners or individually to talk about these topics. Now, I have also sent these topics to you beforehand, so you should be ready by now, right? Okay. Now, so this is our speaking cue card. Talk about water and its importance. You should say, why is water important in life? And why do we experience water problems? So these are what? Causes or effects. When we say why do we experience water problems? Then you've got to discuss the reasons or the causes of water problems. And then the third one is, what are the effects of water problems? So first, you've got to talk about why is water important, then why do we experience water problems, and what are the effects of water problems. I'm giving you 3 minutes to prepare for this, and then after that, I'm gonna call you in pairs to talk about this, or I can call you individually. I'm gonna use the relay to call the students. All right. Now we're gonna use the StreamYard so that you can talk orally. You can actually talk, all right? Okay. Now for those who want to be able to finish the individual speaking task for today, then you can record your voice and then save it in your phone and submit the voice clip via WhatsApp or via email. But I would prefer WhatsApp because it's easier for me to check. All right. Okay. Now this is for our homework. Just so you know beforehand, okay, while you are preparing for your talk, right? Okay, so the writing topic, there are 2 topics to choose from. What are the causes of water shortage? And what are the effects of water shortage? Just choose one topic, okay? And for additional homework, there are some more listening activities, listening tests on Moodle and my ELT. Okay, are there any questions? All right, now you can also ask me while you are doing your speaking task. Okay, so let's go back. Go back to the chat room. Okay, close out of there. All of those. Okay, so remove this. All right, so there we are, we're back. Remove. Stop. Okay, so now in order for us to be able to do the oral conversation or the oral interview, then I'm going to invite you to come up here. Okay, so here I'm dropping the link to StreamYard. Click the link, and then when you click the link, then you would be up here with me to the control room, and then you would be able to speak with me. Okay, we can speak together, like 3 or 5 students can come up here. Okay, Now, when you click the link, then you have a choice to stop the camera or to switch off the camera if you don't want to be seen. All right? But it is a requirement for us to speak because this is our speaking task. All right? Now I'm going to show you how to do it, how to make the StreamYard work, okay, for oral conversation. All right. So I'm going to come up as one of the students, right? I will click on the link. Then I'm going to show you that I could be there with the teacher on the screen. Okay, so it's showing you're entering a broadcast studio. Okay, so here I'm going to show, I'm going to go back. Okay, so I'm going to click on the link, the blue. Okay, click on the link, the hyperlink. Click on it. Okay, so I clicked it. Okay, so it's showing you're entering a broadcast studio. Allow mic or cam access. So if you disallow it, then you won't be able to speak. So allow it, but you can disallow the camera later. Okay? Allow the mic access and then click allow. Okay? Allow. Okay? And then again click allow. Okay. So I clicked allow. So I can come up to the studio and talk to the teacher. All right? So there. And then you type up the display name. Type your first name, Mohammed or Maria, okay, or Bushra, okay, so I'd be Bushra today. And then enter broadcast studio. So I am now entering the broadcast studio. And then there on the lower portion, you can switch off the camera. So it says cam there, okay, there, okay. Disallow the camera so that your face won't be shown. All right. Okay. Now the teacher will see the students at the backstage, and then I will click on it and then add to the stream. Okay, add to the stream. All right. All right. All right. All right. Okay. There is a feedback, there is an echo because there are two speakers working now. Okay? So it says, if the student's cell phone or camera is say, you are in the show. You are in the show. Okay. That. So now the student can start speaking to the teacher. So I can start the interview with the students. All right. Okay, so we're going to start our conversation with the students. I can call 3 or 4 students, 3 to 5 students. All right. All right. So the students should be ready by now. Okay. So I'm going to call them in pair or individually so that they can do the oral conversation. All right. So basically that's it. That's Unit 4, Lesson B. Okay. Thank you for watching. And if you have to review this lesson, then it is available on my YouTube channel. Okay. Thank you very much. See you later.